So we come to 2012 when we started with the first presentation for the redevelopment of Dora House. Now that must be a welcome exercise for residents, because it is a constructive exercise, participating in the what I would call the rebirth of Dora House quite nearby.
I suppose right at the very beginning we had this real desire to work in partnership, and we kind of call it co-production or co-design, because we know it works. When you get all the right people in the room, you come up with better ideas and better design.
You don't find this happening often, and I think many people are scared of it because they feel that they'll be held to account, or they'll have to do things in a certain way. And I don't think that's been how we've seen this process occurring. We took a trip over to the Netherlands, and we met some really kind of innovative, kind of out of the box thinkers who do things differently and engage their residents in everything. And that's why so many of them are so successful over there, because they engage residents.
We took a decision very, very early on that we wanted to share everything with our residents. We didn't want to kind of work up all these proposals and then present them as a fait accompli. We wanted to say, well, you residents, this is your home. You help us pave our way through all of this.
We understood that the building didn't currently meet the demand or the need of the people there, and that they deserved something better, really. And that's why we're working closely with them to make sure that what we do give them when they return is something that they want and something that will work for them.
You are the people who are going to be living in that building, so obviously while we have views on what it should look like and what it be used for, the actual layout of the flats, of the corridors, of the communal areas, actually the people who live in the accommodation know it best.
That was quite a big decision, because people generally don't like to engage people too early, because they say, well, you're going to worry people. They're going to worry about their housing. You're just going to create uncertainty. And we felt that our residents are old enough and experienced enough and dignified, and with our support, if we did it properly, would be able to act as partners in the journey with us. So that's what we did, and I think it's been a really good journey. I think it's helped us get where we are, and it's helped us to really define what we want from the building.
Well, I've got a friend of mine who's heavily involved in that. I'm not, but I've looked at the fruits of their labours, and I think it's outstanding. I mean, the architectural designs of the apartments are great. They're very sort of airy and walk-through designs. Underground car park. I mean, my brother thinks I've won the lottery, and he's not far wrong.
I think that's the interesting thing about Dora House, is that every time you go, you meet somebody else and you find out something new and something different. Because a number of these people have had really varied lives, and sometimes something big has happened in their life, and it hasn't always gone to plan. And I think that's quite heartening in a way, because they haven't given up. They've kind of stood the test, and they've moved on. And I think that's amazing how Central and Cecil can provide this accommodation for people that have those varied backgrounds.
And whether you're a member of staff or a resident or one of the professional team, we can all contribute equally and debate issues and come up with solutions together. So I think that's a sensible way forward.
But what's been really nice is we've been invited into a lot of their actual apartments to see how they use it, to see how they store things, to see how they use their kitchens. And so myself and the architect have spent quite a bit of time seeing their apartments and making sure that we're designing in something to these new, say, kitchens that is really going to work for our residents.
You wouldn't normally do this level of engagement, or you'd almost go off, talk to a few people and then go back and design the building. But it's been very much an iterative process, because you really get to know people, what they're like, their little nuances, their ways of living, which we don't all live the same way. People have little oddities and ways of doing things differently, and I think that's been really interesting from our perspective as designers, because you can actually design for a person as opposed to a hypothetical or somebody that you might envisage living there. You know, you've really talked to them, really got into the nitty gritty. So that's been interesting.
People can really see that long-term benefit rather than this nebulous, yeah, I'm going to get a new flat, but it'll be the same as I'm currently living in. They can really see the differences that the new flat will actually be.
To really involve them is to get something really, you know, important back. You know, that kind of influence that they can have over the design is really important to us.
Actually, sometimes that can be a bit expensive, and it can be a bit delay you doing something because you've made a decision and then actually you've listened further and someone's saying actually you ought to do it slightly differently, and it can slow things down. But actually, it's probably better to do it that way to some extent, because you're getting buy-in and you're getting that co-production and getting people working together more effectively than if you just go in and say, this is what we're doing, hear what you say, but we're not taking any notice of it. And that's not what we want to be. It's just not what we want to be.
You know, some of them have even been invited to attend some of the planning sessions that we've had and things like that, just to get their input. And I think we've all become a lot more savvy when it comes to the design of such a large building and things like that. So we've kind of grown together in our own knowledge.
What the residents actually want will be what's in the building. There'll be space, you know, everything will be new. They'll have the communal areas that they actually want, not just, you know, big spaces they don't use. And that's what we've tried to do with the new Dora house, is have that space at the front of the building where all the residents can meet up and socialise.
But it's not just about the physical building, it's also we've worked in partnership on things like the allocation policy. We sat down with residents and said, actually, who should get priority for the first moves? Originally we said, well, actually, we'll give you a cash sum to help the move. A lot of people said, well, actually, we don't really feel equipped to manage a move. You know, getting the removal firm in, getting everything disconnected, reconnected, etc. So then we set up we brought in a removals firm to do that, and that came through working with residents as well. So everything we do is done with the residents in partnership.
And that's been a really, really good process. They've really joined in and actually changed our ideas about what we think should be being developed. You know, they're the ones who've come and said, you don't need to do that, do this, and it's been really good.
You know, then we've got the extended design team. You know, we've got great engineers on board, but we have challenged the norms somewhat, and you know, they had to think a little bit harder at times, as have we. You know, so I think the biggest challenge is just coordinating so many people. You know, to create, you know, what is hopefully going to be, you know, great development. And I think, you know, that's not at its conclusion yet, but hopefully it will culminate in the planning application and in the building itself. So that's the plan.
Well, I think I'm really excited for the planning submission, because then we can actually say to residents, this is how you've influenced it, and this is going forward, this is what we're submitting, and you've played a big role in this. So I think that's going to be a really exciting moment for us all.
Isn't that fantastic? How many people get the opportunity to design their own home? I never have. I'd love to, but how fantastic that people have got that opportunity. And they can say, this is mine. My idea to do this.
And they say 3 years is a long time, and it is a long time, but actually if you've got something to look forward to at the end, it'll go quite quickly. And what I encourage them to do is think about when you're going to move back, and it'll go very quickly.
I don't know whether there's been a final departure date put on the last person leaving here, but I would imagine no one will be here by next Christmas, as they actually want to get on with knocking the place down and rebuilding it. And I look forward to, I don't know what my view will get, but if I can just see a hint of green and hear the sound of leather upon willow, I'll be happy.
And in that sense, it was not only a creative exercise, but inspiring residents to look forward to something and actually take part in something, creating something. Fantastic, yeah.